All right, so here we go, and we are into day 5 here, which is day 5 of 12 steps into mastering multifamily. And today we are talking about choosing a market. Super important topic. This can be really ground setting for where you go with your business and how you set up your business plan. Are you going to invest locally? Are you going to invest afar? If you're going to invest locally, how will you structure that? If you're going to invest far away, how are you going to set up a team in that capacity? So there's a number of things from a starting point that we look at. We're always looking at strong population growth. We're looking at employment growth. We want job diversity. And then we want income growth, employment diversity, as we've just went over with the jobs, boots in the ground. So those are on a high level. Now you want to dig in here. There's also many other factors that come into play here. You're looking at the market fundamentals. What's the effective rent growth projections, the low supply growth? What is the population for the city here? Or also what's the MSA? So if you're outside of an MSA here, who's actually going to be living in your apartment building? Are you going to have enough people in the town that's going to be warned if you're a 100-unit apartment building in a town that's only with 1,200, 1,500 people? Well, what does that look like from the dynamics of the city? How many people from that city actually just need to be available just to live in your apartment building? What is the growth of the population over the last 2, the last 5, the last 7 years? And does that follow suited with jobs? We came off a rough patch, 2007, 2008, but things have been trending very well. So if we're seeing some kind of economic uptick or downtick right now in a market that's going great, what is it going to look like when things turn around? What are some of the major job sectors and the emerging job markets that are actually part of this MSA, this city, this area where you're going to invest in? How are they going to play into this? Do you have one employer that basically makes up the majority of the pool of labor there? And for that point, if that person or group or company actually went away, what would that do to your potential renter pool? And how many total apartment units are there? If you're looking for 100-unit apartment buildings and there's just not that many in the city, what is going to be your capacity to actually buy one? We look at a number of other things past there, but those are a lot of things that we are going to really jump into. We jump into crime rate, the number of new buildings being built. How is that going to compete? What is that going to trend for? How many units are coming online, and what's the absorption rate for that medium income level and the income growth for the next 5 years? Also, home prices. Home prices are super important because when you're looking for a home, you want to make sure that you are actually in a spot here where the income can sustain your rent, but also that it's not the rent's not so cheap that, and the houses aren't so cheap that people are actually going to jump out and just buy a house every second time it gets new. Trending in a renter nation that's actually moving a lot away from that, but still something we actually have to focus on. And then lastly, we'll end it here. What's the average age of a multifamily inventory you are focusing on? If you're focusing on Class C assets, and the majority of them were built in 1950 or 60 or 1970 or 80, what type of buildings are there? What's the mechanical breakout? What's the age of the properties? Do you find a lot of money's come in this area and these have been renovated recently, or are they still classic to that time? So I'll give you a few more. You're going to look at vacancy in the submarket. You may be able to control your asset, but ultimately you're going to be dictated by the vacancy. If there's just not people to rent, you're not going to be a magical owner who's going to improve the building to a capacity that it's actually going to make sense that your building's going to be 100% occupied if everybody else is 70%. And an important one, are you in a tenant-friendly or landlord-friendly state? That is huge. What is that going to look like from your apartment building? Is if you have a renter who knows the game, are they going to lock into your apartment building and not pay rent for a number of months or years because they know how to work the system? Or are you in a landlord friendly who they understand that landlords are trying to do the right thing and have systems in place for you to be able to do so? Also, each area is going to be in a different market or a different cycle. So not every part of the country is in the same market cycle at the same time. So if you're looking around, is there not a lot happening, or is there a number of cranes in the air? Where do you feel things progressing? Do you feel things are slowing down? Are houses online for a lot longer taking the sale? Are you seeing that a lot of projects are starting to falter or fail or actually just not happen or take a lot longer to happen? What does that look like? So what kind of timeline do you see for the horizon of potentially either an uptick or a downtick. A lot of things we just threw at you there. When we're looking at a market, it's very important to look at it from all different sides, because the one part that you don't look at can burn you for a number of years. All right, this is Jason. Go out there. Let's make it happen.